Right, so just a quick video about the well, not just the IPCC, but also police forces. I've had an email back again from the whatdottheyknow.com site, for which I asked the amount of prosecutions that the IPCC had carried out against Cambridgeshire police officers. Some of you will have seen it on Facebook, either on, I think it was my timeline, or the Police the Worst Emergency Service page. The letter I got back from them, that is. I mean, it just makes quite shocking reading. If you consider the amount of complaints that I alone have made about the police in the last 3 or 4 years, for charges such as misconduct in public office, conspiracy to commit fraud, perverting the course of justice, quite serious stuff, you know, and complaints which are still ongoing as well, such as the police crime commissioner threatening me and so on and so forth. Basically, before I go into the details of the letter, 3 Cambridgeshire police officers have been disciplined by the IPCC between 2009 to 2013. 3. You know, there's some of them I've made 3 complaints against as individuals. And yet this is why what's happening here is the police forces have their own discipline procedure, and of course they're very rarely getting forward, despite the charges I mentioned earlier. Even for things like that, they're very rarely getting forwarded to the IPCC to deal with, and of course the police forces in question are covering them up, and management action is a particular favourite of theirs, and that means that basically you get told not to do it again, and then probably you have to buy the drinks down the pub that night or something. Yeah. You might have condoned theft, you might have perverted the course of justice, but once you've been told not to do it again, the police think that's fine. So obviously you're saved from the IPCC. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in the letter. Between 2004 and 2014, 279 police officers had been had reports of misconduct or whatever made against them. 279, right? To be exactly precise, that's 27.9 a year on average. I mean, that's that's more than one a month. For it could be anything from littering to criminal offences, serious criminal offences, but more than one a month, and that's just in Cambridge. It's incredible. It really is. Well, more than 2 a month, actually. Sorry, I'm being precise. I'm thinking there's 24 months in a year. More than 2 a month, and that's just in Cambridge. So you can imagine, rest of the country, probably similar ratio, and yet between 2009 2013, for 4 years, 3 were actually dealt with by the so-called Independent Police Complaints Commission. If you'll have seen the rest of my videos, you'll know fine well that they're not independent at all. And then it comes back to all the rest. So over 4 years, 4 times 27.9, whatever that is. All the rest, of course, just gets a jolly good talking to. Yeah. I mean, it really, I'm laughing, but because it really is quite. That's quite disgusting, isn't it? I think that's quite shocking. And not only do we not just have the one body for disciplining police officers, if you ask me, it should be taken straight out of the station. As soon as that complaint's made, it should go to a senior officer, and he should forward it to, an actual independent police complaints commission, of which we don't have one at the minute. But they shouldn't be dealing with these things themselves. It's just, it really does beg our belief. And 279 officers in 10 years. Now, they don't have the most recent figures, and that's fine. I'm not going to, obviously figures do take time to be correlated and all this and blah, 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 blah. So as from last year, they're lacking a bit with actually putting together what you might call league tables. Possibly the most serious offenders, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so 100 police officers, basically, almost, in 4 years. Well, actually slightly more than that, I would think. 100 and something police officers, and 3 of them went to the IPCC. And I can't remember what they said about what action they'd taken exactly, but I think at least one had retired during the investigation, so of course that's out the window, Never mind if it was a criminal offence or not, just as long as you retire, that's alright. So there you go, kids. You can break any law you want, as long as you're a police officer, and the percentage chance of you being prosecuted is about 1%. And that's straight from the IPCC, so there you have it. If you want to break the law, become a copper.